Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish Series Stars. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe, hit like, and share this video so you never miss the moments that keep the entertainment world buzzing. Your support lets us bring you the most compelling updates, the sweetest candid shots, and the kind of behind-the-scenes energy that turns a quiet afternoon into a conversation everyone's having. Today's spotlight lands on a pair who know how to make the simplest day feel cinematic. Gökberk Yıldırım and Cemre Arda, whose latest relaxed drive around Istanbul had fans talking, scrolling, and smiling. It all began when the two were seen leaving a private residence tucked away on a calm street in Istanbul. No flashing lights, no big entourage, just the kind of low-key exit that suggests they wanted time to breathe together. Observers described a vibe that was quietly glamorous. Cemre stepped out first, with a crisp jacket and understated sunglasses that framed her face, pairing the look with minimal makeup and clean sneakers that said comfort without compromising style. A few paces behind, Gökberk followed in a soft, open-collar shirt and relaxed jeans, moving with that unhurried ease fans have come to recognize. The way their looks aligned, effortless, coordinated without trying, spoke to an unspoken rhythm between them that people nearby instantly noticed. The car waiting for them was no ordinary ride. Sleek, silent, and clearly chosen for comfort, it matched the mood of the day. Tinted windows, a smooth interior, the kind of sound system that whispers rather than shouts, every detail felt intentional. Those close to the couple have said lately that they're choosing quieter pockets of time over crowded appearances, and this drive fit that pattern perfectly. The plan, according to sources, was a simple one. Slip past the noise, watch the city unfold through the windshield, and enjoy each other's company without agendas or interruptions. It wasn't about being seen, it was about being together. Istanbul rewarded them with a cityscape made for moments like these. As the car rolled past tree-lined streets and wide boulevards with the Bosphorus glittering at a distance, a few fans recognized them through the glass and lifted phones in instinctive excitement. Short clips began surfacing almost immediately, Cemre tilting her head back in a laugh, Gökberk turning a little in his seat as he answered, hands moving animatedly in a thought that never turned tense. A small, quiet look here, a shared grin there, and it was obvious they weren't performing. They were simply present, with the kind of ease that comes when two people don't have to say much to understand each other. They kept the pace unhurried and, after a while, pulled over beside a cafe known for keeping things discreet. The car door opened, and the breeze caught Cemre's hair as she stepped onto the sidewalk. She offered a warm greeting, and the staff responded with that polite mix of familiarity and respect that tells you this isn't their first visit. Gökberk reached back for the door, a small gesture that didn't scream romance but whispered it instead. Then, noticing the edge of Cemre's jacket lifting, he smoothed it gently at the shoulder, and she smiled at him in appreciation. Inside, a brief exchange with the barista turned into a few quiet jokes, the kind that soften everyone within earshot. No rush, no pushing past people, just a few minutes of calm before they slipped back to the car with drinks in hand, thanking the staff and acknowledging onlookers with a nod. What happened between the cafe and the next turn in the road may have been the best part of the day. In the privacy of their seats, with the city moving like a slow film outside, they fell into that easy language of two people who know each other well. Music at a conversational volume, fingers tapping lightly against the steering wheel, a shared look when a favorite song came on. Cemre leaned in, saying something just out of range for microphones but easy enough to interpret from the warmth in her expression. Gökberk laughed, and for a second his laugh became hers. A light nudge with an elbow, a mock-serious roll of the eyes, a quick sip of coffee between lines, these were the frames people imagined when they saw those short clips online. Even without hearing every word, the mood spoke clearly, safe, affectionate, effortlessly close. Of course, no city drive is entirely anonymous, and at one intersection the couple slowed to a full stop at a red light where several pedestrians recognized them at once. Phones appeared, and the street's buzz rose a notch. The two handled it with the kind of grace that comes from experience. Cemre lifted a hand in a quiet wave, eyes kind rather than startled. Gökberk smiled and acknowledged a few cameras without leaning out the window or inviting a crowd. There was a boundary there, but it wasn't cold. It simply said, "We see you, and we appreciate you, but we're still keeping this moment simple." When the light turned green, the car eased forward, and the energy returned to its earlier calm. Their route threaded through spaces that feel like postcards when you catch them at the right hour. Waterside paths where gulls circle lazily, side streets where murals stretch across old stone, a curve in the road that reveals rooftops and minarets in a single breath. Cemre pointed out a small artwork near a corner bakery, a burst of color she'd noticed. Gökberk replied with something that made her laugh again, and for a beat she rested her chin on her hand, watching the city with the sort of contentment that reads instantly as genuine. It wasn't flashy. It didn't need to be. The dynamic felt half playful, half contemplative, completely in sync. Online, the reaction landed with speed. Clips from the day rolled into fan edits before the sun dipped, stitched together with brief captions celebrating how normal and warm the afternoon looked. Comments flooded in praising their understated fashion, their calm aura, and the way they seemed unconcerned with putting on a show. Familiar keywords connected to the outing began climbing within fan circles, sparking discussions that stretched across city forums and entertainment pages, not wild speculation, but gentle appreciation for small details. How she adjusted her hair in the window's reflection. How he angled the cup so it wouldn't spill when the car moved. Things that shouldn't matter, yet somehow do to people who've been following a story as it unfolds with care. There was another layer to the conversation, too. Observers applauded the way they kept their private world protected without shutting out the public entirely. Tinted glass and soft voices were enough to keep their words their own. A courteous wave and brief eye contact were enough to keep fans feeling acknowledged without turning the whole afternoon into an event. That balance, between being known and being whole, doesn't happen by accident. It felt practiced, yes, but not rehearsed. It felt like two professionals who have learned the pace that keeps them close while living lives that invite constant attention. As the light began to tilt warmer and the day stretched toward late afternoon, the car curved back toward the quiet residence where the drive had started. They didn't rush inside. The engine stilled, and a moment of unguarded laughter lingered in the air like the end of a good song. Their conversation carried the easy rhythm of planning. Nothing rigid, just a shared sense of what comes next. Maybe dinner somewhere that understands privacy. Maybe resting before a busy week filled with commitments and cameras. A few more words, the kind exchanged with soft smiles, and then they stepped out, moving with that same unassuming calm that framed the day from the beginning. For those watching from afar, the outing may have looked like a simple drive and a quick cafe stop. But for fans who have followed the two through premieres, interviews, and the bright lights of big events, this quieter chapter spoke volumes. Style without shouting, affection without spectacle, and a connection that doesn't need constant proving, these were the threads that ran through the afternoon. Their coordinated choices said something about taste. Their gestures said something about care. Their ease said something about trust. And in an industry that moves fast and loud, that trio of messages landed with force. There's a reason moments like this one resonate. They carry a softness that holds space for real life, the kind of life where you notice how someone holds a door, or when they turn down the volume so you can hear each other better, or when they decide to skip the grand entrance and choose a quiet route along the water instead. People love big declarations, but they remember the small ones longer. Watching Gökberk and Cemre let a slow day be exactly what it was gave fans the comfort of feeling included without being intrusive. And of course, the fashion notes didn't go unmentioned. Cemre's pairing of tailored lines with casual footwear drew praise for being smart without trying too hard. The way her sunglasses framed her face during those sunlit moments at the cafe ended up in collages across fan pages. Gökberk's choice of a light shirt and unfussy denim, coupled with the easy confidence he carried, made people talk about how grounded he looked. Together, their silhouettes seemed made for each other, parallel lines that met at every turn. even in the shorter clips, the soundscape told a story, the low hum of the city, the rhythmic click of a signal, the soft rustle of fabric when one leaned toward the other. Their voices were mostly private, but you could sense when a joke landed, and when a thought lingered long enough to matter. Their silence never felt like a gap, it felt like a bridge. By evening, the conversation online had settled into a sort of collective smile. People shared favorite moments, like the split second when Cemre looked back at the cafe door to offer a final thank you, or the way Gökberk shifted his coffee to his left hand so his right could guide her through a closed space on the sidewalk. Editors gathered images into smooth montages, blending still frames with motion in a way that made the afternoon feel even more cinematic than it had in real time. The consensus was simple. Nothing dramatic happened, and that was exactly what made it memorable. The day wrapped with the same tone it began, calm, considerate, and quietly luminous. After returning to the residence, the two remained in the car for a brief while, talking the way people talk when they don't have to rush anywhere. A little laughter, a touch of planning, a sense that the story they are writing together doesn't need bold fonts to feel real. When they finally stepped inside, the city continued on without them, yet somehow it felt different because of the way they had moved through it. So what did this drive reveal? That stylish choices can feel personal rather than performative. That warmth can be expressed in glances, not just grand gestures. That genuine connection shines even brighter in everyday scenes. The balance they maintained, between the public gaze and the private room, was the through line. Fans responded to that, not because it was shocking, but because it felt true. In the end, the afternoon wasn't a headline built on chaos. It was a portrait built on presence. Gökberk Yıldırım and Cemre Arda gave the city a reminder that intimacy can exist in motion, that care can thread through ordinary moments, and that authenticity has a way of turning even a simple drive into a story worth telling. And that's exactly why people are still replaying those snippets, still zooming in on tiny gestures, still talking about a day that could have slipped by unnoticed but didn't. Thank you for spending your time with us today. If you enjoyed following this peaceful, elegant slice of life, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so you'll be first to catch the next chapter. We'll keep bringing you the scenes that reveal character beyond the spotlight, from quiet drives to moments that surprise everyone. Stay tuned to Turkish series stars for more of the stories you love, told with the care they deserve, and get ready, because the next video promises even more moments you won't want to miss.